There are places I remember like I've been there before, but all the places have their moments like I've been there before, and all the places I'd hope and I dream so much about the places of their moments like I've been there before. There are places I remember like I've been there before, but all the places have their moments like I've been there before, and all the places I'd hope and I do. Sarah and David were best friends. They known each other since they were in daycare when they were about 3. David asked Sarah, "Do you want to come over to my house for dinner?" Sarah said, "Yeah, I do want to come." Jane asked Sarah, "Do you want to come over to a sleepover party? I know you like doing boy things with David. It'll be a good chance for you to do something with the girls." Sarah said, "I'll invite to David's house for dinner." Jane said, "Well, why don't you come after dinner?" Sarah said, I'll see if I can come after dinner." Sarah's parents dropped Sarah off at David's house for dinner. Sarah, David, and David's mom and David's dad were both having dinner, and the food was delicious. They had lamb chops with a side of beans, and it was pretty good. Sarah said, "Thanks for the dinner." David's mom said, "Thank you. That's nice of you, Sarah." Say, playmate, come out and play with me. Bring your dolly free, I'll stick it up your nose. Fly down my rainbow into my gold pot, and we'll be jolly friends forevermore. Shut the door. Sarah said, "It's 9 o'clock. I gotta go to my party, David. Bye." David said, "I'll walk you to your party, okay?" Sarah said, "Thank you." Do 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 do. Sarah said this is the house where the party is. David said, "I get hung on boy because I'm a boy." Sarah said, "Yeah, you're right, but I'll have fun for you." David says, "Thanks." After walking his best friend over to a party, he came back home and his dad told him it was time to go to bed, so he went to bed. It was the next day, so Sarah's parents wanted to talk to David about something. So David's dad called David, and he came over. The police officer said to Sarah's dad, "Can I talk to David in private?" Sarah's dad said, "Go ahead." The police officer asked David, "Do you know anything about what happened at that party?" David said, "I walked my best friend Sarah there, and I dropped her off there, and I went back home, but I didn't hear anything." Well, the police officer said, "People had girls who went to that party, went there, and everything was gone." David asked the police officer, "Why are you asking me?" The police officer said, "You were the last one to see Sarah before she went to that party." David said, "I don't know. When I dropped her off at that party, it just seemed like a normal family. I wasn't invited because I'm a boy." Police officer said, "Yeah, that makes sense. A sleepover? A boy at a sleepover? That doesn't make any sense." The police officer said to David, "I'm sorry I bothered you with it. I'll be on my way. But if you hear anything, call the police." It was basically the next day, so David decided that he was going to go over to the house where had the party and do some investigating. David was basically in the house where had the party, and he was snooping around and he couldn't find anything. But he found a clue with a letter on saying where they were going. So what David did is he called the police and he reported what he found. The police found the house and had the girls locked up, and they placed James Foster under arrest for kidnapping. The judge asked James Foster, "What do you plead?" James Foster said, "I plead guilty." So the judge sentenced James Foster for 10 years in prison. James Foster said, "I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for that meddling kid who are not allowed to know his name." There are places I remember like I've been there before, but all the places have their moments like I've been there before, and all the places I'd hope and I dream so much about, the places have their moments like I've been there before.